Hello, my name is Francisco and I'm an actor for historical characters. And this is Theatron, a channel about history and theater. And today we talk about origins and social importance. It all started around the 7th century BC with the worship of Dionysus, whom we will dedicate a whole video in the future. Dionysus was considered the god of grapes, wine, joy, fertility, madness and ecstasies. In the ritual prayers, his followers were intoxicated by wine, and with choral songs they worshipped their god. These choral songs were called dithyrambs and were performed in a round place called orchestra. There were also a procession in his name, where the ancient Greeks carried a statue of Dionysus with statues of stone or wooden phallus, there were symbols of fertility, through the city in a cart. These processions were called gomos. In the beginning, men and women took part in these cult rituals. In 600 BC, these festivals were nationalized and institutionalized, and women were no longer allowed. It will be centuries before women will be allowed to enter the stage again, though not in the time of ancient Greece. Women in Greece were allowed in the theater as spectators, but in their strongly patriarchal society they had only access to the back row. Slaves were not allowed in the theater. Fun fact, men kissed women on the mouth only to see if they had been drinking, because alcohol was forbidden for women. These cult rituals were combined, and entire buildings were dedicated to them. It was the birth of the theater. This theater were very popular in all Greek provinces around the Mediterranean Sea, allowing the construction of such masterpieces like the Theater of Syracuse, the Theater of Ephesus, and the Theater of Epidavros. The last one was part of a spa center, and attending a play was part of the healing process. Though the most important theater was the Dionysus Theater in Athens. The author and the producer, the so-called choregos, ran the show. His task was to set up the core, raise the money for the production, and provide for costume and props. Also to guard the rehearsal, or pay somebody who will do that for him. The authors usually participated in their own plays. At the beginning, as I told before, there were only choral songs, the so-called dithyrambs. However, one day, a young author named Thespis had an idea who would change everything. He put on a mask and acted as Dionysus, talking to the core and having a dialogue between the core and Dionysus. That's why Thespis is considered the first actor, and the word thespian is derived of his name. With this change, the drama was born and the protagonist. The choral songs became less important, and the story and the dialogue became ever present. Later on, they included a second actor, the so-called deuteragonist, and a third one, the tridagonist. With the help of masks, they could take over several roles, like young people, old people, gods, warriors, kings, but also women, because women were not allowed to act in a play. In Athens, they celebrated a theater festival between the 10th and the 16th of the month Elafebolion. That's between March and April, to celebrate the end of winter. They called this festival Dionysia. The ancient Greeks were very competitive, so they make also a competition out of the Dionysia, a so-called Agon. This festival took 5 days. 2 days before the festival, the authors and the ensemble presented their plays to the audience. On the first day there was a Komos, where the statue of Dionysus and Phallus were carried from Eleutherae till Athens. A goat was sacrificed, and the Agon of the dithyrambic course took place. Furthermore, the tributes of the allies of the Delian League were exhibited. People who had rendered special service to the city were honored, and the sons, where the father had fallen in the war, had their armor returned to them. On the second day, the comedy Agon took place, where 5 comedies competed against each other and were judged by judges drawn by lots. The third, fourth, and fifth day were dedicated to the tragedies, where every day a tetralogy was performed, consisting of 3 tragedies and a satire play. The satire play is like a lewd fable, probably presented as comic relief after 3 tragedies. At the end of the Dionysia, there was a public meeting in the theater to choose the winners of the Agon. The winner received a celebratory goat and eternal glory, because their name were carved in stone in the theater for all eternity to see. In general, attending a theater performance was a civic duty, and being a part as an actor was the greatest honor somebody can imagine, because these actors were treated like heroes and fed by the state. Thank you for watching. I have a load of videos upcoming. In later videos we will talk about the theater as a building, we will talk about Thespis, and emerge in the history and the culture of ancient Greece. Until then, break a leg and see you soon.